Call to order the meeting of Tuesday, May 22nd, 2018 of the Long Beach Community College Board of Trustees. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Virginia Baxter.
Here.
Jeff Kellogg.
Here.
Vivian Malauulu.
Here.
Doug Otto.
Public comments, 1.3 on closed
Excuse
session
me,
items.
I wasn't called.
And Sunny Zia.
Here.
My apologies. I wasn't ready.
Forgot who we
And I'm
were.
looking right at her.
Public comment, 1.3. Madam Secretary, is there anyone that you have listed to speak on our agenda items for closed session?
No, there are none.
None, thank you. The item is 1.4. This is pending litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9. And we're going to do a conference with Public Agency Law Group. And the other item is personnel pursuant to Government Code Section 54957, Public Employee Performance Evaluation. The title, Superintendent President. If there's no questions, comments at this time, we'll adjourn to closed session. I'd like to reconvene the open session for the Long Beach Community College District Board of Trustees meeting for May 22nd, 2018. If everyone could please stand, I'm going to ask our student trustee to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
The right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Secretary, if you could please call the roll, the Board of Trustees.
Sorry, it's not coming up on the screen. Virginia Baxter.
Here.
Jeff Kellogg.
Here.
Vivian Malauulu.
Here.
Doug Otto.
Here.
Sunny Zia.
Here.
And student trustee Chavez.
Present.
Thank you. Item 2.4 is report on closed session items. There is nothing to report out from our closed session. Next item 2.5, approval of the minutes of April 24th, 2018 of the regular meeting. If there's any corrections or additions to that, if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Motion
So
by
moved.
Trustee Vice President
Second.
Zia, second by Trustee Baxter. Question, comments, members of the board at this time? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, please call the roll on item 2.5, approval of the minutes.
We'll have to call the roll without the,
Pardon me?
we'll have to call the roll without it up on the screen. Something's not working. Correct. Jenny Baxter.
Here.
Jeff
So-
Kellogg.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu.
Aye.
Doug Otto. Sunny Zia.
Aye.
And student trustee Chavez.
Aye.
I think we'll all stipulate that Jenny is here.
Yes.
Yes. Aye. Thank you.
We knew it. 2.6, introduction of special announcements. So Superintendent President, you have some to report?
We do, President Kellogg. We'd like to give a special recognition tonight to Professor Patrick McKeon, who is our journalism professor, who is retiring after 30 years of very distinguished service this year. He's been a professor of journalism here since August 19th of 1988. And prior to that, had a distinguished career as a journalism reporting instructor and newspaper copy editor and layout and newspaper page layout editor. So congratulations, Pat, and thank you so much for your service. And for the students, we have a special certificate here for you. We're going to take some photos.
If I may, can we request a board photo also?
Thank you.
Thank you. I know he would like that.
Let's go.
Do you want to use, where do you want us to go?
In front.
you like to, there you go.
Thank you so much, President Romali and the board, for the recognition. I appreciate it. I've had the best job in the world for the last 30 years at the greatest place to work. So good to see some of my colleagues who have been with me almost as long, and in a couple cases, a little bit longer. Trustee Baxter and Vice President Delgadio, I think among the people in the room, and I'm probably missing somebody, have been Dr. Baxter just about longer, and I think Vice President Delgadio almost as long, if I'm correct. Cindy back there. Yep. We all started when we were teenagers, very young teenagers, right? I'm really thankful for the job. I met my wife through this job, through a common friend. My kids learned how to swim and play sports at this college in the summer camps. They delivered the Viking newspaper in their red wagon when they were youngsters. They even played school in the classroom when I would come over on weekends and holidays when their mom and my wife would kick us out. We'd go over here and I would do projects and they would play school. Had great colleagues over the years, thousands of students who were lucky enough, I was lucky enough to have them in my classes. Wonderful faculty, staff, administration. Thanks to this board and your predecessors, thanks to President Romali and her predecessors. Really looking forward to retirement, catching my breath, relaxing, a few less committee meetings, which are always a favorite part of my career here. I'm going to try to teach part-time if the college will have me back next spring after that waiting period. Going to be involved in some projects involving Long Beach City College and journalism advocacy across the state and some community projects as well. So I'll step aside from the main full-time teaching job, but will always have my heart here at Long Beach City College. Thank you again.
Thank you, Pat. Board members, Chair recognizes Trustee Malulu. Others?
Yeah,
Vice
I'll
President
speak
Zia? You're leaning
after
forward.
Trustee Malauulu. Oh, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to thank you, Pat. It's so wonderful. I was invited by you multiple times to go to your classrooms and the awards. It's just wonderful seeing the magic that happens in your classrooms, and I'm going to miss that. And I'm sure it would be nice to have you back, even if you can make some time for us as part-time. Just this past Friday, Trustee Baxter and I had our scholarship interviews, and we couldn't get a hold of a journalism student that was one of our applicants, and she said, you know what, you've got to call Pat. And right away, you were on top of it, and you got us access to the student, and she was able to have the opportunity to be interviewed. So it was fascinating. It was fabulous, and I really thank you for the service that you've given to this institution, to our students. It's wonderful. Thank you so much. We were very lucky to have had your legacy and service here.
Trustee Otto?
Yeah, I just add my congratulations and appreciation for your 30 years of service here at Long Beach City College. You are an institution like this institution is an institution. You've trained so many aspiring journalists and people that have actually gone out into the profession. As I was driving down here today, I thought, well, I guess Tim Grobedy's leaving the Press-Telegram, and you're leaving Long Beach City College, and so there are changes in journalism going on. But congratulations and thank you wholeheartedly for all you've done for us.
Trustee Malulu?
Pat?
Hold on.
Oh, no,
Trustee
go ahead.
Baxter?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
you want to be the last
Trustee
one? Is that
Baxter.
it? Okay. Well, yeah, Pat and I have gone back a long time, and I've always respected the fact that you put the students in charge and try to let them make the good decisions and maybe not as good decisions. And I really respect that because that's what teaching is about. Teaching is not about telling people what to do. Teaching is about helping people think and make their own decisions. So congratulations. I'm glad you're going to be back next semester teaching hourly. That's great.
Trustee Malulu?
Thank you, Board President. Pat, I requested to be the last to speak for a reason. I don't know, those of you in the audience, if you're aware, but Pat is my former boss. And if you have a problem, an issue with me being at LBCC, it's his fault because he's the person who took a chance and hired me I don't know how many years ago. I have a lot of things to say about Pat, and I'll save them for your retirement soiree. But right now, I just would like to thank you for being a really good boss. I learned a lot from you, and I appreciate your professionalism. I don't think I've ever worked for someone who was as consummate of a professional as you are with regard to student engagement, student production, deadlines. As soon as you walk into the Viking newspaper office, the climate changes from what it is outside. Walking into your own office, the way students respect you and regard you, you carry yourself in such a way that you command that authority, but it's a good one. It's not one out of fear, it's one out of respect. I know students learn a lot from you, so we are definitely going to miss you. And I love the way everything worked out. I love how hard you worked to make sure we had another full-time professor there, and Walter, and I appreciate what you did with the Journalism Advisory Council. You've done so much, and I really appreciate that. And I will save the Pat McKean roast for the retirement party. I will just say that I had Googled some memes, and there's one that says, when you become your boss's boss, right? There's a funny one. And there's two reasons why somebody wants to become your boss's boss. One is because you think you're better than that person and you want to show that person out. Or two, because you want to be as good as that person. So the latter would be mine, for sure. So you've set a great example. Thank you, and enjoy your retirement.
Thank you. Thank you, Pat. Moving on, that's Superintendent President, is that the only one
Yes,
you
that
have to say?
completes the special announcements. Thank you.
Thank you. 2.7, recording the agenda. Is there any request on that item? I heard there is none. There is none, so the order of the agenda will remain the same. Next item, 2.8, ASB President Report. Is this your final one as well?
Yes, it is.
All right.
Yeah, it's a lot of laughs. That's crazy. But so just to start it off, good evening, everyone. It's coming to the end of the semester, so I'd like to thank everyone for their time once a month. Been a great, happy family here. So just to get it started, long report here, so let's go. I'd like to start this off with a special thanks to Jeff Kellogg for all the work he's done for the city of Long Beach and the outstanding civic service he's provided for both the campus and community. Just thank you so much, Jeff.
Thank you. We almost won the mini Grand Prix one year, so.
Really?
Except Jenny Baxter was slowing me
right.
down in the
It's
car.
my
She kept
fault.
dragging her hands.
I put my hand down.
So to continue on, I'd like to announce the individuals elected as the executive board for the 2018-2019 ASB cabinet. For secretary, we have Amber Sullenberger. Treasurer for his second term, Nash Neira. For LAC Vice President, Jaron Leary. I think he's here today. Is he? No, I think he stepped out. PCC Vice President, Jenny Nguyen. Student trustee, you'll be seeing this gentleman every month, Donnell Jones. And our ASB president, Paulo Canteras, he's actually in the stands right here. Please stand. Thank you, Paulo. Yeah, he'll be speaking a lot.
Is he from St. Anthony's High School?
No, he is not. But yeah. Here. So that's the full executive board. There's only one position for the cabinet that's vacant for the following year, so we'll basically get that taken care of before the start. And now I'd also like to report that through past amendments, positions that have been part of the PCC Student Council have also been elevated to the ASB cabinet. So now that's some of the positions that might have been overshadowed now have a voice and actually have a vote and a larger say in the whole ASB cabinet as a whole. Also, there's been a creation of a student programming board. The aim and purpose of the student programming board shall be to develop, create, and implement student-focused events to support the ASB, student affairs, and the ASB's vision to provide the LBCC community quality events dedicated to enriching the lives of our students. So the creation of this board allows for the ASB cabinet to better service the students by taking away some of the responsibilities as far as programming, and allow the cabinet to solely focus on meeting with department heads, servicing the student voice in different district committee meetings, and kind of just focusing on the more legislative part of everything. So it's definitely going to be a transitioning process for a lot of the people that are returning, but it's going to be a good one at that. Now, I'd like to address a very specific issue that's concerning our students. This is a serious issue that I actually do take to heart, and I'm pretty sure any administrator that kind of treks along one side of campus or the other knows what this is all about. There's been a growing concern facing our students every day walking to and from classes. Over the past few weeks especially, our students have essentially been herded from for their signatures for petitions. There have been more and more of these signature gatherers. And every petitioner that I've actually asked, they're all paid to do that per signature. Over the past few semesters, it's been a growing trend. I didn't realize it. I didn't see it as a hassle at first, but the numbers just kept getting bigger, honestly. Essentially, over this past semester, primarily these past 2-3 weeks, individuals have been stationed at both sides of the crosswalk, in front of the library, in front of the parking structure. There have even been a few instances where these people go into the cafeteria and go up to students and ask them. And yeah, I don't think that's right. At one time a day, everywhere you turn is someone else just asking for your signature until you basically have to scream uncle and submit and give it to them. According to the policy on administrative regulations on freedom of speech, time, place, and manner, under 1005.3, it states grassy areas and walkways chosen to provide visibility and allow communication to a large number of students, administrators, faculty, and others walking or traveling on campus are reserved for expressive activities. These areas are permitted for expressive activities that are lawful and do not disrupt educational and other activities of the district on behalf of the students. The district reserves the right to redesignate these spaces, and you kind of get the gist of it. Adopted in December 8th, 2015. This is what I pulled directly from the LBCC website. If it's been updated, please let me know. I'll happily look over everything I said and address it at the next meeting if you'd like. But several students have complained about their aggressive behavior expressed by some of these signature gatherers. And there have been instances where students have been harassed to sign their petition. And if they don't, then they make the student out to be the victim because they won't sign something that will help their cause. I myself and a few of the students that I see time and time again have been approached by these individuals, and it's one of the most annoying things since I've actually come to college. According to our LAC Club Senate President, Heidi Alsenjack, you guys all know Heidi. She's very like true to heart, wears her heart on her sleeve, and expresses what she truly feels. The individuals, this is her quote, "The individuals I've encountered have been aggressive and don't know how to take no for an answer. Because these are petitions, most students don't realize that they're providing them with their personal information to an outside agency from the college, all just so students can get them out of their face, honestly. As far as me personally, I've been here for 4 years now. 4 years. And things haven't been as bad as they have this semester, honestly, overall. I see students having to take the long way around just to avoid some of these people, and we students know specifically who to avoid sometimes because we've been asked repeatedly, time and time again, from the same characters. And it's come to a point in the end, in the viewpoint of many of our students, where you either submit to give them your signature to leave you alone, or you get berated by them every single time, even when you're walking away. Under policy 1005.5 procedures, members of the public wishing to engage in expressive activities on campus in areas designated for public forums must check in with the district to the Office of Student Life prior to engaging in the activity. None of these signature gatherers that I've encountered have gone through the Office of Student Life that I've particularly spoken to. The surplus and rise of these signature gatherers may be due to a misinterpretation of this policy, but it is definitely a policy that needs to be looked over once again since its adoption in 2015. too many of these outside individuals coming on campus at a time, basically too many of these outside individuals coming on campus at the same time creates a detriment to our overall pride in the college as a whole, and also dampens the student experience and makes it less of an inviting place. More of a place where individuals don't necessarily come up to you with relevant information that's aimed to help you and through your college experience, but more of just a person doing their job and getting their signature. Because many of these individuals don't know what they stand, what some of these petitions that they're trying to sign stand for. And there was an incident once, you can quote me on this, I can get the individual on record, one Jose Garcia, one petitioner came up to him, asked him to sign something about, I want to say 30 feet away. It's another signature gatherer asking for basically the other viewpoint of the same side. So it's honestly, it's a terrible, terrible thing for our students. And it's just, honestly, they're solicitors that are on campus, and they're just getting paid for it. If there's administration, faculty, or staff that'd like to go over everything with me or our newly elected ASB president or rep of legislative affairs, by all means, we're all happy to take on this challenge. But I can definitely guarantee you that if this issue goes unaddressed, it will continue to rise up again and again and again. It's not. If you have any questions, feel free to talk to me. I'm in the fishbowl in the E building every day, Monday through Friday. I'm down to have a sit-down conversation, just go over everything.
Thank you. Superintendent President?
Thank you. What we'll do when Commander Lieberman makes his presentation in just a few moments, I will have him address that since he is an expert on that particular matter, so you can have a good answer to your question.
All right, thank you. And yeah.
Just have a question.
Vice President Zia?
Hi, Javier. First of all, thank you for your service, and I'm sad to see you leave. Thanks for bringing this up. One question that comes to mind is, do you have an idea, I mean, can you give us an idea of what kind of issues these solicitors, is it political, is it religious, what are some of the gamuts of issues that you've been personally petitioned?
It's mainly political. I remember about a year ago, one of the biggest ones was like about marijuana and the legalization of it. And others have to do with like with climate change, and it's a whole bunch of different ones, honestly. But there's not necessarily like, they don't expressively say that, and they don't have backing information to anything that they say.
And they come in the common areas, or do they also go to classrooms?
I haven't seen them particularly in classrooms, no.
They can't go.
Thank you.
President Kellogg?
Trustee Baxter?
I had a situation last year, maybe it was during the hot dog thing, but where a person was collecting signatures, and I said, what you're doing is illegal. Where's your note from the dean? And of course, they didn't have a note from the dean, but he was standing on the sidewalk. He said, I'm not on college property, I'm on the sidewalk. And I think maybe if there was more of a police presence, and I'm dying to hear what you have to say, Senator Lieberman. But it really is, they really go out of their way to harass people. And I'm so glad you brought this up, Javier, because this is a real service to the students to try and solve this problem. Thank you.
Yeah, and just one last thing. One particular instance that really stood out to me was for one of our Join a Club days. It's where students can come up to basically join a club, engage in the student experience. And there was an individual basically posing as a person who's trying to develop a club.
Had a booth.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
exactly. Like, that's not something we need. Like, it's our event, and they're coming here and doing all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't want that, you know?
Well, you finish your term. This is your last presentation.
Yes.
So on behalf of the board, we've had lots of presidents in my tenure, and you always rank as one of my favorites for all the work you've done, positive way. Now that you make St. Anthony's proud, but also Long Beach City College on your time served here. You've done a great job, and enjoyed interacting with you. the window, and there's a short window for ballot propositions. And most people, if you don't know, they get paid. So every signature is dollars in their pockets. So they are going to be aggressive. They don't care what the issue is. They just are trying to get 100 signatures, which will calculate to $400 to $600, depending on what the rate of return is now. It used to be around $2 to $3 per signature. So it's a business, and so don't think, but the way they're handling it has gotten a little bit over the top. So we appreciate your input, and we'll get some feedback on it. But thank you very much, and best of luck to you in the future.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. And once again, if you guys want to talk to me, fishbowl every day. Thank you.
Trustee Malauulu?
Javier, I also would like to thank you for your service, and I want to apologize. I didn't realize that the solicitation on campus was that bad. I was aware that there were some solicitors that were irritating students, but I didn't realize how aggressive they were.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad you brought it to the board's attention. I'm sure that, something will be done about it. You didn't just give that very thorough report for nothing. It will be taken care of. So I appreciate you. I know it takes a lot of courage to address that issue because it is a public matter. So thank you very much.
Great job. Thank you. Doug, Chair recognizes Trustee Otto.
Yeah, I want to thank you for your service as well. It's been great to get to know you to some extent. I think you've done a great job as the ASB president, and I think it's particularly memorable that you brought this issue up now at the college. This is a teachable moment. Yeah. There's a lot of things that have to do with the First Amendment that we do on this campus, and I think we're going to learn some more about them before tonight's over. And so thank you for bringing this up. Good luck.
Thank you, Doug.
Chair recognizes student trustee.
Finally. So I've been approached by these signature gatherers. One of the issues that they approached me with was the whole rent control thing going on. That's such a really big thing here in the city of Long Beach. I tend to just like put my shades on, listen to my music, and they won't even talk to me. I've been personally, I won't consider it like harassed, but I'm pretty sure other students have. They'll, like 2 days ago, they judged me based on like, because I had a J. Cole shirt on, and they just like made a comment about it to try to like instigate something as far as like, hey, come talk to us. That's kind of the way they kind of get you. And I mean, I've heard from other students on campus that that's one of the methods they use to like at least seem it come off as friendly in a way, where it's like, okay, now I can try to pitch my idea to you and try to get your signature. It's something that definitely needs to be addressed. But I understand where they're coming from as far as, well, yeah, I'm on the sidewalk. It's free. I'm not on campus. About the director, Joshua, director of one of the directors at the Office of Student Affairs, he did mention that about how with our own events, they go ahead and they pose as a booth, when in reality they're not. They have nothing to do with Long Beach City College. So in a way, I mean, at that point, what are you doing here on campus? You're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be representing or trying to get your signatures. Aside from that, I mean, it's been a wild ride, but thank you so much for your service, President Salcido.
You too.
Thank you. All right, moving on. 2.9, the public comments on agenda items. Madam Secretary, I have no cards, so I'm assuming that means we have no speakers?
No speakers.
Very good. 3.1. This is the recognition of now our student trustee. This is also going to be his last meeting. This is an informational item. So I do have a recognition and a certificate to our student trustee, Chavez, for all his great work he did. I will, and we have a photographer too. We're going to do a group picture. Let's do that first, then we'll have the comments. It's not a roast. So could we just all step around here and we'll
Is there
have
anything to
pictures
roast
with
about
ourselves
me?
and the student trustee. But I do have some great comments here. So
There's going to be a roast, right?
For the record, I'm kind of nervous. I'm really nervous.
This might be a roast.
Jeff, you don't want the certificate in the picture?
Yeah.
Now that you have it, I mean, you keep it over there. That's okay. No, I've got my comments. So this is the recognition for our student trustee who has served. I can only, over my time on the board, there have been good student trustees, and there have been some absolute train wreck trustees. And this is not one of those train wrecks. It's been a real pleasure serving with you. And actually, almost everyone that we get involved with as far as our students has always been positive, for whether it be our student government or with the student trustees. And you never let the bad ones overwhelm the good ones. You had some, you've always been interested in what we're doing. You brought up good subjects. I think you have voted on more issues in the past year than any other student trustee. And that's not the student trustee's fault, but it was the board, we made sure you had some recognition. You are going off to, and you've said this before, but just to remind everyone, he's not only a first-generation college student completing his final semester here, but he's also headed to the University of Southern California. I tried my best to talk him out of that, but that's a great opportunity, and he's looking to do double major in political science and communication studies. And we wish you the very best in that. The quote that I always love that I've read, and you were actually interviewed, is that if I'm not in school, I'm studying. If I'm not studying, I'm with my students. If I'm not with my students, I'm with my girlfriend. That is a great answer.
Unless
that
you're his
shows
girlfriend.
the man has political ambitions and is smart. But among everything else, so it's just been a real pleasure to serve with you, work with you, and it just is what makes it great being a member of the board, is because we look at students like yourself that you are going to be the future leaders, and you've done everything positive, and I've just been real pleased to have the opportunity to serve with you. So other members of the board, I know I started, I usually wait till the bitter end, but Vice President Zia.
Thank you, President Kellogg. And just to echo on your comments, I really enjoyed having you on this board, Jorge. You're fun, you're spunky, you're also about doing the work, so it was a pleasure. And I really hope you don't become one of those annoying USC alumni that can't stop talking about the Trojans and proselytizes everywhere. I know you're going to be a model alumni that would always remember Long Beach City College. Thank you.
Other members at this
Trustee
time?
Keller.
Trustee Baxter, followed by Trustee Malauulu.
It has been my honor to sit next to you for an entire year. And so I'm going to miss you. And I just want to thank you for your service. I know you're going to be so successful. You're going to be famous, and you're going to make Long Beach City College proud. And when on your resume, you're going to put that you both went to Long Beach City College and USC, not just USC. And like I said, I think you're going to be a very, very successful person. And except I'm a little mad about the girlfriend being at the bottom of the page. But besides that, good luck. And anything I can do to help you, I'm happy to.
Trustee Malauulu.
Jorge, I just want to commend you on doing a great job representing the student body. I think that our students were very fortunate to have you here. You were a very engaged student trustee. You showed genuine interest in the issues that came before the board. You always had thoughtful questions to ask, and you always contributed something meaningful. I appreciate that. The meetings that you and I had and the issues that we tried to tackle are not complete, but they will be, and I'm sure you'll be passing the torch on to your successor, and we'll continue the work that we started. Good luck. Keep us posted, and I admire your youthful ambition, and I anticipate that you'll be doing very well in the future. Make us proud. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Trustee Otto.
Yeah, I echo the remarks of my fellow trustees, and it's amazing to see how much you've learned in this year, because you've been a diligent member of this board, a valued member of this board, and I think you're going to go on and do great things, and keep in touch. I think each of us, or at least most of us here, want to save you from the SC experience, and so we'll try and do that.
Thank you. Did you want to make a comment now on this, or do you want to wait to the very end? You want to think your reply? The floor is yours.
Thank you so much to everybody on the Board of Trustees. I'm not going to do my whole report, but I will say that I appreciate every single one of you and the impact you made in my life. And, you know, for my time that I did sit here for about 4 to 5 hours once a month, it was all an experience, and I loved every moment of it. I'm going to miss the sandwiches in the back. I'm going to miss the cookies. But yeah, it was a great ride, and I'll say the rest at my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. We're going to move on to presentations. Item 4.1, this is a informational item only. This is the 2017 Annual Report on Campus Crime. Superintendent President, should I recognize immediately Dr. Miller, or do you want to start?
Yes, Dr. Miller will introduce this presentation. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Miller.
Yeah, I'm very pleased to introduce Commander Jeff Lieberman. He's with the Long Beach Police Department. Commander Lieberman is here tonight to present the annual report on campus crime.
Welcome, Jeff.
Good evening, and thank you very much, Honorable Trustees, Madam President, and Vice Presidents. It's an honor to present to you tonight. I think before I begin, I'd like to address the issue with the signature collectors. I totally empathize with everybody here about that issue. It remains a challenge for us. However, you might, although it is a severe annoyance, it's also constitutionally protected behavior. And unfortunately, they have a right to be on a public campus such as this. They can't go into classrooms and obstruct class activities, but they can be in common right-of-ways, common areas, grass areas. They have the right to approach students. They have the constitutionally protected right to First Amendment right to political speech, which this court's recognized this behavior as. However, students and faculty and staff don't have to listen to them. And I think the best way to deal with these people is to ignore them, know your rights as an individual, and walk away. We can enforce the law if they obstruct a public sidewalk, if they actually touch somebody, batter somebody, threaten somebody. But being annoying is still a constitutionally is still a First Amendment issue. So our personnel continue to monitor them, and we'd like to make it, try to make it clear to them that we watch them closely, but they are protected under the First Amendment and by case law. It's very common, and it is politically, it's First Amendment protected activity, or business activity masquerading as a First Amendment activity. I mean, they do make a significant amount of money, sometimes $5 to $10 a signature, depending on the ballot initiative. So it is a big, big business, and until courts issue a ruling to the contrary, they have a right to be on campus, but they don't have a right to commit crimes, and that's what we're here to do. So I wish I had better news on that front, but I'll entertain any questions related to that issue before I begin my crime presentation. Okay, let's get started. Well, once again, I'm very happy to report on the activity of the Long Beach City College Police Section. For 2017, once again, it turned out to be a very good year for us. Crime is down, and we still are one of the nation's safest community college districts. I'm very proud to report. The men and women of the Long Beach City College Police Section do an outstanding job, and as we go through this presentation today, I will share some of our successes with you. I just need to bring to your attention that the numbers that you're going to see today, the statistics, are based on analyzed uniform crime reporting that we present to the FBI. Those of you that have seen the 2017 Clary report that we provide the Department of Education reflect different numbers. They're different reporting standards, but it is a federal regulation and we provide them. And the differentiation is that the information that we present in our Clary report to the Department of Education reflects crime reported to us regardless of the outcome. The information that I'm providing you today with our numbers reflect analyzed, investigated cases, and these are the numbers that we report to the FBI for our purposes. I need to state that our City College Police Section goals are always, number one, protecting life and property. We are here to serve the entire community, faculty, staff, students, visitors, and everybody. And first and foremost, just below that, it was my expectation, will continue to be my expectation, that our personnel serve as ambassadors of the Long Beach Police Department and law enforcement as a profession. We're here to inspire and educate, and we take that very, very seriously. We do that through a variety of means, through personal safety presentations in classrooms, for new students, for international students, doing crime prevention seminars, doing emergency preparedness workshops, active killer mass casualty drills. We do this through personal contact, through various events that some of you have participated with us, through media, through our social media, through videos, and just by modeling the behavior. We're also active partners in the student discipline process. We have the ability to issue summary suspensions and refer them to student discipline for follow-up. We are required to enforce a student code of conduct, and we refer students that we have contact with to student discipline for final disposition. And we participate in conduct hearings as requested, depending on the circumstances. And for 2017, we referred 19 students to student discipline for a variety of transgressions, from classroom outbursts to actual near criminal behavior. We're also active participants in the behavior assessment team. That continues to be a successful initiative consisting of the Vice President of Student Support Services, the Associate Vice President of Human Resources, the Dean of Student Affairs, the Director of Student Conduct and Student Life, the Director of Student Life and Student Health Services, the Director of Human Resources, the Director of Business Support Services, the Manager of Environmental Health and Safety, and the Lieutenant of the Police Section. In 2017, the behavior assessment team had several cases. Many of you are familiar with one in particular where a former student was actively engaged in communicating with a particular department here that had a restraining order against him. And through our meetings in the behavior assessment team, we were able to bring different resources to the table, deconflict what each of our different responsibilities were doing, and we were actually able to come up with a successful resolution to that complaint using the criminal justice system. So it is a model that does work, meets on a regular basis, and fosters a great deal of conversation and good. And again, it's always a work in progress, always working to improve, but we did have a number of successes in 2017. So let's get to the numbers. The reported number of incidents at the liberal arts campus in 2017 showed a 31% decrease from 2016 to 2017. And we define an incident as any time we take a crime report. So an incident can be something as major as a burglary or a battery to found property or found bicycle or a stored car. So we showed a 31% decrease in the number of incidents that we recorded. At the PCC campus, we showed a 1% increase, which is very, very small. We went from 75 in 2016 to 76 in 2017. The number of incidents on both campuses combined resulted in a 22% decrease in overall incidents, which is outstanding news. As it relates to property crime at both campuses, we showed that bicycle theft and personal district property were the most common losses. And they attribute the number of burglaries in 2017 we show 9, we show an increase, and that was due primarily to the construction projects that were going on at PCC before the camera system went into operation there. So we had a number of burglaries at construction sites, tools were stolen, classrooms, buildings were broken into, and items stolen. But since the cameras have come into operation, we've seen a dramatic decrease in property crime and burglary. Violent crime remains very, very low. In fact, in 2017, we had one robbery that occurred at PCC where a student was at the bus stop at PCC, actually on public property, not on campus, and had some property forcibly removed from him. And we had one sex offense, which was an incident that occurred between the M&N buildings at night. The suspect was in custody, but one student pulled a female student into a darkened area and touched her in an inappropriate way. But we took him into custody. He was charged and is being held. He's going to go to trial. So we've had 3 felony arrests in 2017. We had one for possession of child pornography. A student was in the L building on one of the public computers up there, and it was downloading child pornography onto a thumb drive. That was an investigation. It took a little bit of time with our sex crimes detail, but we were able to prove it and file charges and arrest him for that terrible crime. One arrest was an out-of-jurisdiction felony warrant from another local law enforcement agency. The kidnapping arrest you see was related to the student that pulled the other student between the M&N buildings. That is technically a kidnapping when you move somebody from a position of safety, even just a few feet to an area that increases their danger. It's kidnapping. And 2 of the arrestees were students, and 4 misdemeanor arrests last year were students. There were a total of 16 misdemeanors total last year. So 12 of those were non-students, and you can see in front of you the varying offenses from trespassing to DUI, vandalism, drug paraphernalia, and unlawful entry onto campus. So other reported incidents, traffic accidents, common. I mean, and most of those are just backing, people pulling out of parking stalls, or minor hit and runs where one student will sideswipe another and not recognize it. That's the majority of them. And then we had one attempted suicide, which is of note. It could have been a tragedy if it wasn't for the citizenship of 6 of our students here at LAC. So I'm sure some of you saw the article in the Viking, but there was a troubled student that was balancing on the ledge of the parking structure, and 6 students saw this occurring, engaged with the potential jumper, and were able to physically restrain the student and pull them down and get them help. We're going to be recognizing those students in a public ceremony on Thursday, June 7th at the Carpenter Center at Cal State Long Beach. I encourage you to attend, but they're going to receive, all 6 of them are going to receive a community service award from the Chief of Police. So it's something to celebrate, and it's really a credit to the culture here at Long Beach City College, where in most of our communities, when something bad is happening to someone else, most people just pull out their cell phones and act as an observer and just watch and report it. These students chose to live in the moment and protect one of their fellow Vikings, and we want to publicly recognize them for that. So we hope to see you there at that ceremony. Our total calls for service show a 5% increase, and I see that as a good thing because I think it reflects the level of trust the stakeholders of the campus have in the police department. A large percentage of those calls for service are safety escorts, after hours, general questions, calls for us to come and do a presentation in class. So it just shows that I think in the last year that people recognize that we're here to help them. They call us, and we're there when you need us. So now my favorite part. We are very fortunate here at Long Beach City College to have to be able to partner with you and all of the stakeholders here. And again, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for embracing some of our ideas and helping us build bridges with the community here. I was very, very invested in increasing campus community engagement during 2017. And that was implementing, we started that with a Cold Stone Cops event. Every semester we would have an event at each campus where the police officers and special service officers would prepare ice cream or hand out ice cream and then highlight a different specialized assignment or unit from our police department. We brought K-9 out here, the crime lab. Some of you were here this year when we flew the helicopter in and landed it in the quad, which was a fantastic event. So we started up a Twitter account, so we're at LBCC Police, picking up more and more followers and sending out crime tips, safety tips, and just engaging with the community. Donating blood during the Red Cross blood drives. With a generous grant from the Long Beach City College Foundation, we were able to continue our Catch Somebody Doing Something Good campaign, where our officers are given $5 gift cards to the bookstore or to the cafe. And when we catch a student doing a good deed, they earn themselves a gift card, and then we promote that on social media. Again, just trying to get out there in the community and be recognized as a partner and build partnerships and inspire students to hopefully follow in our footsteps into this profession, and also inspire and educate and engage faculty and staff here as well to see us as a force for good. In 2017, in April of 2017, we held the first active shooter drill in the district that engaged both the police and fire departments. Some of you were there and watched this happen, but every on-duty police officer and firefighter in the entire city cycled through that scenario at PCC during spring break, where we simulated a mass casualty incident in Dyer Hall. And every police officer and firefighter had the opportunity to practice the tactics that we learn in the academy and in our in-service training. And as all of you see, it seems like virtually every week some community is struck by this type of tragedy. We hope and pray that it never happens in our community, but rest assured that we are prepared, trained, equipped, and regularly practiced to provide the best service we possibly can to stop the threat and deliver life-saving aid to anybody in our community. We also, during that drill, we drilled the Emergency Operations Committee here. The vice presidents and the president at the time, Anne Marie Gable was present, was still here. They simulated an actual administrative response to a mass casualty incident. And just want to also advise you that wasn't the only time we did it. When the students go home and the faculty goes home, we're still here. And when we're here, we're training. You don't see it, but we're here and constantly making ourselves better and more responsive and ready to handle any contingency that can happen. And hopefully it never does. A couple concrete initiatives that we did last year that I'm really proud of. Again, it demonstrated some of the partnerships that we have here. Roof letters were painted on the roofs of all the buildings on the Pacific Coast campus and the Liberal Arts campus. It's critically important information for first responders, for helicopters. We live in an area where we're blessed to have so much air support, not only here from Long Beach, but the sheriffs and LAPD. We can all call on each other. But they're essentially the quarterbacks in the sky. And although the Long Beach City College police personnel know these campuses like the back of our hand, most officers never set foot on campus. And God forbid if anything bad happens here, the response is going to be coordinated through air support. And by putting the building numbers on the roofs of the buildings, they can more effectively and in a more timely manner get help to people that need it. So thank you very much, President Romali, and everybody here that supported that initiative. It's hopefully we won't have to use it in that capacity, but it's there just in case, like a fire extinguisher. Hopefully you never have to use it, but we have it here, and it's groundbreaking, and I hope more districts, both at the K through 12 and colleges and universities follow suit. We're also able to solve, as a result of the CCTV system that's been installed on both campuses. As soon as it went live, we were able to catch a couple criminals using it within the first 2 weeks. We had one prolific burglar that was breaking into vending machines on community college campuses all throughout Southern California. With the aid of the Long Beach City College CCTV system, we helped identify him. He was arrested outside of Saddleback College, and that paid dividends. And then we were able to catch a student that stole a computer from another student over in the GG building at PCC very quickly. So it was an excellent investment, and you can see by the crime numbers, the property crime numbers, that as soon as it goes live and you put the signs out that say you're being recorded and people see the cameras, we displace crime. It leaves the campus. So thank you so much for starting that. And before I conclude, I'd like to introduce my replacement. As you know, I've moved on to another assignment. I'm still engaged with Long Beach City College. It's one of my responsibilities now. However, I'm no longer located here on the campus. So I'd like to introduce Lieutenant Omar Martinez, who I anticipate will be starting within 2 weeks. And I'd like to introduce him, and he has a few words he'd like to say.
Thank you. That's a tough act to follow, I'll tell you. First, I'd like to thank Commander Lieberman for giving me the opportunity tonight to go ahead and speak with you briefly, just as an introduction. Hearing all the work that goes on here at the City College, both campuses, is definitely, it's exciting, number one, and number two, definitely some big shoes to fill with all the work that he's done and making the Long Beach City College a safe place. So with that said, I'm excited at the opportunity to be here. I'm excited at the new position, and I'm excited about meeting all of the board and the administrators and staff. And honestly, that's one of the exciting parts about the job for me is, within the police department, there's, you kind of run into the same people. And so it's almost like we're stepping out of the building a little bit and we get to meet some new folks. So I'm excited about that. I will say, and even after the safety presentation, my number one priority will be campus safety and security. So I will be paying close attention to that and the things that go on, the things that we can do. Obviously, Commander Lieberman's done a fantastic job, but I'm always looking to improve, and I'm looking to see how we can make things better and safer for everybody here who's coming to take classes and learn new things. So that's definitely something I'll be paying attention to. One of the things, too, I think, in order to make that happen is having partnerships, collaboration and teamwork. I'm really a big teamwork person. I believe in teamwork, working together with folks to get things done versus trying to do it individually. So you will see definitely a team player in the way that I go about trying to get things done is trying to figure out how we can work together to make things better and to make things safer. And so if I'm looking to see how we can do it, I'm looking how we can get people involved and stakeholders and different parts of the campus, on campus and even off campus to make the environment safer for people to come and learn and achieve their academic goals. One of my jobs at the department, past experience, was teaching. I did a lot of teaching. In fact, I came from the Long Beach Academy right before this, and I was teaching one of the learning domains out there. And so, the college environment for me, the classroom itself is one of those places where, that exchange of ideas and people voicing their opinion and the discourse that goes on, that's really, it's really a great process. And so one of the lucky things for me is I get to be at a place where all that's happening and I get to be part of that. I intend to be engaged with, again, big shoes to fill there with Commander Lieberman as far as being engaged, but I plan to also keep that going and be engaged with the community, the college itself, and branching out and looking how we can, foster those relationships and collaborate and work together with, administration, staff, and students. One of the other things that I'm looking to do, and Commander Lieberman's already done a fantastic job, is to really kind of look at how I can develop the team. I think the team is kind of where it starts for the police section and how we can continue to improve. They're already doing a lot of great things, but how we can improve our professionalism and really kind of be customer service oriented to the community that you serve here at the City College. And so that's one of the things is it has a ripple effect. He was saying modeling and when he was talking earlier, and if the section is modeling what we expect, we're going to see that ripple out, to the larger community as a whole. So that'll be one of the things, making the section as sharp and professional as they can be. So in kind of summarizing, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to start to kind of learn everybody's name and get situated and learn what's going on. And so once I'm out here, I'm going to hopefully hit the ground running and get things going. And I'll be one of those. I'll be a teammate. You can look at me as a teammate, and I'll be there available to hopefully continue to improve and maintain the safety and security of the campus. So thank you for the few comments today and the few minutes to share with you. Thanks.
Thank you. Questions, members of the board, this time regarding the chair recognizes Trustee Malauulu, followed by Trustee Baxter.
Thank you, Commander Lieberman, and welcome, Lieutenant Martinez. I have a couple of questions. On page 15 of your PowerPoint presentation, I have 3 questions on that and then another page. The first one is, who is Darth?
Who's Darth?
Yeah, is that Darth Vader?
We never
Stormtrooper.
reveal who
The
that is.
Stormtrooper? Sorry, Stormtrooper.
Wow,
That
you
was
just-
that was taken on May 4th.
There's a generational issue going on.
Sorry.
May the 4th be with you.
Gotcha,
That's
okay.
what we were celebrating.
Wondering if we can identify
That was me.
the perp there. And then also the blood donor, I think that's great how the identity is protected there. On the April 27th, it's nice that you put the flyer, but it would have been nicer if you actually put the photo of the helicopter. That was really rad when the chopper landed on our quad there.
That'll be next year's. That
All right.
was a Valentine's Day of 2018.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
You're right.
it was this year.
I was there. It was Valentine's Day. Oh, where is that?
It's in.
Oh, that's why. Okay, I'm on the first one. Yeah, that was great. I thought that was probably one of the best community engagement activities. Everybody came out. They were looking out of classrooms and it was really neat. I have a question on page 5 of your slide presentation.
Yes.
So with regard to the bat, maybe you can educate me. These are individuals on campus who meet regularly
Yes.
to assess the safety of the college? Or
To assess specific instances where any stakeholder here has popped up on the radar and is exhibiting behavior or action that might require some additional resources to preempt or to get them some help.
Okay, because what stood out, 2 things stood out. One is that I didn't see any student members of BAT, which there might be a reason, maybe you can tell me. But then I also didn't see any faculty or any counselors or any of the members of our staff who are typically on the front line, who these are probably the ones who would see and interact with students more regularly and might have firsthand experience. So maybe in the future for next year or however you guys assess membership into this group, you guys can consider opening it up and having a faculty member or 2 or a counselor or 2, maybe even a classified staff member who can sit there, because I know that a lot of our admissions counselors, they can identify students right away. They'll know a student walking on campus and know the name because they see them so frequently. And then also, perhaps we can have a student, and I don't know if there's a protocol to that, if that's even allowed, but it would be nice to have a more rounded assessment team.
Duly noted. I wish I can't speak with authority as to the confidentiality issues that are kind of more related to the district
Sure.
and student records and all that. So I will definitely bring that, brief up Lieutenant Martinez on that, and you heard her concerns. We'll definitely engage with those questions and see what we can do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Trustee Baxter.
Yes, hi. Congratulations, Commander
Thank you very much.
Lieberman. I represent this area, this neighborhood around the college, and I get a great many phone calls, emails, whatever, about a couple of things. So I want to set something clear. One phone call had to do with people in the park, and I said, Long Beach City College does not have property in the park, and you need to call the Long Beach Police and not Long Beach City College, but the question was, why can't the police go over there and talk to the homeless people? So that's one thing. Am I correct in that? That
That's
you are
correct.
not
You-
involved, our force here is not involved with off-campus kinds of things?
Well, you pay an enormous amount of money for our service, and
Yes.
it's my expectation and the expectation of the chief of police that our services stay on the campus. If we send somebody away to handle a call for service in an adjoining area, the campus is less safe. We need to be ready to respond at a moment's notice for anything that can happen here. We have good staffing in East Division, and that's East Division property. And if there was a dire emergency or an officer needing help, of course we would be there. But our number one focus is protecting the stakeholders on campus.
Okay. Now, the next one is, on this side, over on faculty, several neighbors have complained that students are not being ticketed, that students are parking there without a Area F permit. And is not necessarily the police, but aren't the little people in the little carts, aren't they
Yes.
patrolling this? I know they patrol Clark very, very well.
Yes.
Because the neighbors on Clark are very happy. But now I'm hearing from the people over on this side.
Yes, they actually don't fall under the police department, but that continues to remain a challenge, and I will make it a point to let parking control know about that and increase their presence there.
Okay, so those people giving the tickets, they're not part of the they're like an adjunct of the Long Beach Police?
They're out of Public Works, but they're
okay.
not police employees. However, our special service officers and police officers can cite as well. But while they're doing that, they're also they need to be available for calls for service. So during the beginning of each semester, we ask for additional resources from traffic and from parking control, kind of set the tone for the rest of the semester. But then once that's over, they have other demands. We only have a finite number of them. But I will definitely pass that on and make an effort to increase some coverage there.
Okay.
Hopefully satisfy your constituents.
Okay, thank you.
Chair recognizes Trustee Otto. Did you have? Followed by Trustee Zia.
Just Commander Lieberman, to thank you for your service, and the numbers speak louder than anything else about the kind of work that you led here on campus, and we're very appreciative for the job that you did and the example that you've set, and for, is it Sergeant Martinez? Lieutenant Martinez, that it's a high bar, and we're looking forward to the continued good service we've gotten from the Long Beach Police Department.
Well, thank you. I'm flattered, but really the credit goes to the men and women that are actually doing the actual work. I'm blessed to have such great people that work here, and the credit all goes to them.
Thanks.
Trustee Zia?
Thank you, Jeff. We'll certainly miss you, and congratulations on your promotion. I also want to congratulate you on having such an amazing and diverse group of men and women. Although I only see one, I think, woman on your crew. So that's
We have two.
You have two. Okay, we gotta
One
do
is
something about
one
that.
is currently deployed with the Naval Reserve now in a combat deployment, and she
Wow.
returns in November. And then we have Tiffany Grigo, who works the day shift here.
Okay, great. Yeah, I was at the airport and I saw one of our former officers there, and it was like being reunited with someone like that is a dear friend. And I looked really foolish in front of the rest of the crew over there. Like, why is this woman so excited? But I wanted to ask you on the incident that we had when it was due to the sexual assault felony, the one.
Yes.
So what was the response time between the time the incident was reported to the time that someone got on campus and addressed the issue?
We were there within 2 minutes and had the suspect in custody within 10. So
Wow.
very, very quickly. And that's why we don't go to the park to handle calls outside the service area. If on the rare occasion that something bad happens, we're there and we catch them.
And how did you receive the call? Just so we tell students.
911. It was a
Oh, it was a
911 call.
So it got routed to, or is there a direct line to
Yeah.
our campus police?
All numbers that we provide the students, 938-4910, which is the campus number, 435-6711, which is the City of Long Beach non-emergency line, and 911, they all go to the same operator. We just pick up 911 first.
So this student happened to call 911
Yes.
and right away. Wow. Okay, that's fantastic. And you mentioned about June 7th that our students are being
Yes.
recognized. Do you is this a lunch event or is it because we have commencement that day?
It's going to be at 6 p.m.
Yeah, it does conflict with graduation. If there's any
That
way,
is one minor detail.
yeah, just a point of information.
That's, man.
Yeah, if it's possible, I know I certainly love to connect and come and see them get recognized and
There's
perhaps
six of
other
about
trusts.
50 or 60 people that are going to be recognized. I wish we could postpone the whole event, but
Yeah,
unfortunately,
perhaps we could do better coordination in the future. And the last thing I just wanted to, on your page 9, you mentioned burglary?
Yes.
So that has been, so what's the difference? Is this on, we're not talking about personal property. Is it just, what's the distinction
The
between?
difference between theft and burglary,
Yes, and
the different
The
crime
increase.
classes, well, a burglary is breaking into a structure to remove property and taking
Mm-hmm.
it out. So breaking the threshold of a building, breaking into a locked car,
Okay.
that is burglary. Theft is removing property that's not yours from one location and taking it to another, but not breaking it, going into a structure to do it. So swiping somebody's cell phone off a table when they have their back turned, or out of an open classroom during class, somebody taking someone else's property. That's the distinction.
Okay, so this is an aggregate data that we have for both LAC and PCC
Yes,
for
correct.
9.
Correct.
Would you happen to know how much was attributed to PCC out of the 9?
I'd have to go back and pull the
Okay.
data for you. And just in the interest of brevity, I combine the two. Next year, I can encourage Lieutenant Martinez to break it out more by campus if
Yeah.
that's what you'd like.
And that would be great if we can have disaggregated data. I think that's, and I also wanted to, the active shooter training, is that, how often do you have those? Is it just once a year or is it frequent?
Citywide, we try and do it once or twice a year. But here on campus, where we have the luxury of days where people are on campus, we do it frequently, like flex days, holidays, when people here and won't be disturbed by seeing us, doing tactical maneuvers. That's when we do it, but regularly. I mean, that's ad hoc training, in-service training. We practice on campus routinely, regularly, more than the regular police department does.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great. And lastly, I'm sure you're aware of this, that your former colleague, Joseph Levy, is hosting a annual school safety summit on October 10th. I announced the last time around. It would be wonderful if we can have participation. I think it'll be great for our students and staff. I don't know if you guys have any role in that summit, but it certainly seems informative, and
Absolutely.
it would be great. And I just also want to welcome you, Omar. You're going to love working here. It's a wonderful place. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
President Keller.
Student trustee.
Thank you so much, Commander Lieberman. I definitely appreciate this presentation, and it is vital data that our students definitely need to know what's going on. I had a couple questions regarding slide number 9 with the whole theft and stuff. I noticed that at the bottom it says bicycle theft and personal district property most common loss. Specifically for like bicycle theft, is there like more patrolling in that area specifically around the campuses where usually bike racks are, or how has that been addressed?
Yeah, that's handled. We've done several outreach initiatives related to bike theft. We've done some information videos that we've put out on Twitter. During our campus safety presentations, we really harp on the necessity of students that ride bicycles to use U-locks, and then we teach them or train them how to apply them appropriately. Some don't use them correctly. They'll just bolt their front tire using a U-lock, and all a bad guy has to do is pop the frame off, and they're gone. And most of the bike racks, most of them are now directly underneath a camera. So that it has a huge deterrent effect. And in fact, since that's happened, our bike theft, the rate of bike thefts has really gone down. But yeah, it does continue to be an issue just because they are a conveyance that are in high demand. And when people don't use U-locks, you can remove chain locks and cable locks with just a simple tool very quickly.
Okay. Now, as for my second question, has the Department of Homeland Security reached out to the college campus, LBCC PD, as far as, trying to identify students here on campus regarding citizenship status and whatnot? Because I know it's really tough time we're going through right now. And how has LBCC PD responded to the Department of Homeland Security if they reached out?
We've received no inquiries from the Department of Homeland Security, and I have to tell you, I have been a Long Beach police officer for 25 years. I have never, in my entire career, and I've worked a lot of assignments, I have never personally been involved with any immigration enforcement whatsoever. It's just not what we do.
Right.
And, as far as DHS and Long Beach City College, we would expect a courtesy call if they came here to conduct immigration operations. That's a federal responsibility, and that's on them. I would like to know if they were here, but they are federal law enforcement entity and have certain authorities and can exercise those authorities. But local law enforcement and the Long Beach Police Department is not involved with immigration enforcement whatsoever.
Thank you so much for that information. I think our students here at Long Beach City College, by knowing that, that just goes so much as far as, we're setting that standard and we're being that model of a community college. Thank you so much.
Chair recognizes Trustee Malulu.
Sorry, second time speaker. You just reminded me of an incident several months ago. I cannot remember the organization. There was a meeting at PCC, and there was a group that was doing some kind of immigration. It wasn't Centro Cha, it was another organization. And one of the students asked a question of the panel as far as safety and enrolling on campus and immigration protection. And the panelists said, oh, LBCC is the best. Like, the police officers here, they don't bother you when it comes to immigration. And I just thought it was really funny that was an issue that was addressed on a panel, and it involved safety and school police. So you reminded me of that. So that could be a reason why, perhaps we can enroll students. But also I wanted to just mention one more thing that I've noticed is your presence on social media is also very well received. And I think that that's a credit to the department here on campus. A lot of students actually follow the Twitter, the LBCC feed, campus police feed. So I think that that's great that we engage social media and safety in our campus police. And I meant to say that earlier and I forgot, but again, you reminded me. So good work, and I hope Lieutenant Martinez continues that.
Well, thank you. I'd like to conclude by saying, it was an honor and an absolute privilege to work with all of you and to serve this campus for the last year and a half. And I've been doing this job a long time, and I've had many exciting assignments and done some really interesting jobs. But serving here as the lieutenant of the Long Beach City College was the most rewarding experience of my career. And it reconnected me with why I became a cop in the first place. I felt like I was able to do more good here in this environment than out in the rest of the community. You really see the tangible results of your efforts. And I was remarking to Lieutenant Martinez as we were walking up here what I would do to be in his shoes again and to come back onto campus. So I'm still involved. I'm still responsible for the contract here, and I look forward to serving you in this capacity now, and now I turn over the helm to Lieutenant Martinez, and I'm sure he'll do a phenomenal job. So thank you so much, and I look forward to serving with all of you in the future.
Jeff, thank you so much for your service. Jeff, I will not, I'll pass on the fact that you are part of the negotiating team, that your comment here was the enormous amount of money that we spend during labor negotiations, so I'll use that against you in future negotiations. I won't use the line, as Trustee Baxter said, the little people, referring to the Public Works parking enforcement individuals.
Take that off.
We meant the little three-cart cars. But in this statement, I just have to say that I was hearing comments by my colleagues, and terminology when in 2002, the first issue I had to deal with as a trustee was we had, like so many community colleges, you have your own police force, you have your own chief, where's the 4 stars, and they were located in the parking lot over behind the library in a trailer that reminded you of something out of Ringling Brothers. I mean, it was on wheels. So, that was the first controversial issue I got to deal with. And the question was whether we were going to allow our police force to carry weapons. And the final results of it all was we went out, contracted out with the Long Beach Police Department, which I think was one of the finest decisions we could have made with the professionalism, and we've had no issues. But the terminology is, which I find fascinating over the course of time, we never had the term DACA. We never had the term active shooter. Security cameras, which I've been, in my professional life, other campuses have been resisted because they felt it was really, people were intruding on their personal lives. So credit to this college and this board about putting a security system in for the betterment of our students, to protect the students. And the sad reality of where we are today in society, college campuses are viewed as almost a sacred ground, where it is a place where people come to learn. You look at all the good things in society, and unfortunately now, in particular, in the high school level of shooters coming on campuses, we're an open campus, and that in itself has been very challenging for us, and I hope it is always this situation. It has not been in regard to an active shooter, but we have been very good about training for that horrible event, when and if it ever does happen. Being an open campus does lead to a lot of challenges. In the past, for me, when I first started, the biggest challenge was we would have people leave their Easter bunnies, which became rabbits, which became multiplied, which became 500. So it's very interesting to see how this has all progressed from, I was thinking back when I came on here and having our own department, and then making a very difficult decision, controversial decision at the time, to essentially contract out with a outside service, Long Beach Police Department. And just as a footnote, I had just left Long Beach City Council, and we just dealt with a very controversial issue regarding the Los Angeles County Sheriffs and the Long Beach Police Department. So I remember turning to a colleague that I served with on both places, and I said, I can't believe I show up here and we're dealing with the same issue. We're dealing with the law enforcement. But it was a great move, and you've all done fantastic work, and you personally as well. We thank you very much. And
Thank you.
You have a very important role at this campus, obviously, because we're here to protect our students at all times, and it's a very challenging time, especially now. So great job, and best of luck to you in the future with Long Beach Police Department.
Thank you, and best of luck to you as well.
Thank you. And negotiations.
Thank you.
There's no other comments on this presentation. This was an informational item only. We're now at consent calendar, items 5.1 to 5.18. No one has indicated they want to pull any of those items. So with the exception of the 5.17, 5.18 that our student trustee cannot vote on, I'll entertain a motion to approve the
So
consent
moved.
calendar. A motion by trustee Otto, second by trustee Malauulu, to approve the consent calendar. Questions, comments?
Present.
No. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on the consent calendar items 5.1 to 5.18.
Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Jeff Kellogg.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu.
Aye.
Doug Otto.
Aye.
Sunny Zia.
Aye.
And student trustee Chavez.
Aye.
Thank you. We're now to Human Resources 6.1. This is the Personnel Commission Annual Report. And I was told you're looking at, we're having some problems still with our board docs, so I don't know how that's working for all of you, but our apologies if it's been difficult to follow. This item here is for this is a concurrence. There's no vote required on this. This is, again, pursuant to California Educational Code. The Personnel Commission prepared the annual budget for its operation and conducts a public hearing on that budget in which they did. District's Personnel Commission has met those obligations, held a public meeting on April 16, 2018, and they adopted their 2018-19 proposed budget at the regular scheduled meeting of May 7th. So at this time, if there's any questions or comments on the Personnel Commission, I would just like to thank the Personnel Commission for all their hard work. Many colleges, the Personnel Commission duties are actually incorporated by the full board, and to have a Personnel Commission, not all of them do, but they take a tremendous amount of work and effort, and so we appreciate their help on that. And if there's no questions about the budget, we will move on. None? Thank you. Item 7.1, this is third quarter financial status report. And there was a lot of people hovering over there. Does that mean you are ready for it? Or this again is an action item. Student trustee can vote on it, correct, Madam Secretary? And this is just the 2017-18 third quarter financial status report. It's required for all districts to report quarterly on their financial condition. And so it's it's a form, satisfies the requirement, reflects the projected revenues and expenditures through June 30th, 2018, as well as actively covering July 1st, 2017 through March 31st, 2018. Let me begin with a motion and a second, please, on this. Motion by Trustee
So moved.
Malulu, second by Trustee Zia. Questions, comments on this, or Superintendent President? I'm now going to turn it over to, is there anyone that's going to make a report on this, or did I cover it pretty well? Are we good? It's just a...
Read it very well. Actually, the next item, which is for information, will get into some of the details that are reflected in this third quarter report.
Okay. No questions, comments, members of the board? There is a motion and a second on the floor.
Excuse me, I have the motion, but who made the second?
Trustee Zia.
Oh, who
Motion
made
by
the-
Trustee
Who made the
Malulu.
motion then? Okay.
Trustee Malulu. You okay?
Virginia Baxter?
Aye.
Jeff Kellogg?
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu?
Aye.
Doug Otto?
Aye.
Sunny Zia? And Student Trustee Chavez?
Aye.
Thank you. 7.1 carries. We're now to 7.2. This is an informational item, and this is the area regarding the status of the budget 2017-18. I'm not laughing purposely on this one. The attached report was reviewed by the Budget Advisory Committee and covers the unrestricted general fund and the financial activity occurring from July 1st, 2017 through March 31st, 2018. So, Dr. Miller, are you going to be making the stab on this one for
Yes,
information?
I will.
All right.
Thank you.
This is the ongoing budget scenario, so take it away.
Yes, this is the current year budget for fiscal year 2017-18. And I would like you, as a starting point, to take a look at page 6. And in the middle of page 6 of the report is a line that's called operating surplus/deficit. I don't get to share what is relatively good news very often. And it would be page 6. It's the last page of that particular spreadsheet. Thank you. The line right about in the middle of the page that says operating surplus and deficit. At the time when the budget was adopted last September, it reflected a deficit budget of $8.7 million. When we last looked at this report, this would have been about 3 months ago, we were projecting that deficit had declined. It was then projected at $6.9 million. And you'll see on the report that it is now being reflected at 4.8. It's $4,799,586. That's the difference between your current year revenues and your current year expenditures in your unrestricted general fund. Approximately 1.3 million of those dollars are one-time in nature. These were dollars that were established in your reserves and were intended for expenditure in subsequent years. And so if we were to subtract that from that total deficit, your real structural deficit then is 3.5 million, which I think is an improvement significantly over not only the budget that was adopted, but our more recent projections. This is the result of a number of efforts looking at ways to contain costs, as well as a refinement. As we approach year end, our numbers become a little more specific. Earlier in the year, you assume your entire budget is going to be expended. As you get to this point in the year, you have a better feel for how that is looking. So that is a positive direction. If I were to make an estimate at this point, I think you'll see some further refinement of these numbers and some possible reduction of even that deficit by the time you reach year end. We are taking a look at active purchase orders that are in the system, and assuming that those will be fully expended, there could still be some savings there and some further attrition savings as we go through the year. The primary changes we went through the last time you saw this report. We take a look at our total revenues from the time the budget was originally adopted. It is higher by about $915,000, and we have expenditure reductions that add up to about $3,042,000. A significant portion of that is the one-time dollars on the expenditure reductions, approximately $2.5 to $3 million of that is the one-time dollars that were anticipated to originally be spent of slowing some of those projects down so that there would be a little bit better carryover going into subsequent years when the district is better able to proceed on some of those projects. So this is an improvement in your structural deficit, as well as the last time we saw it, the primary reduction was in those one-time dollars. And rather than trying to go through this line by line, if you have any questions, I'll do my best to respond to them.
Members of the board, question at this time for this update on our budget. Comments, questions? Chair recognizes Trustee Baxter.
Yeah, yes, thank you, Trustee Kellogg. I want to salute Betty Miller and President Romali and Anne-Marie Gable for taking this head-on and doing such a great job of leadership in helping us reduce this deficit. And this is very important, I know, to all the board members, very important to me, because I'm a fiscally conservative person. And I just think it's wonderful, and I salute you and encourage you to continue, and it's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. It was very purposeful and very careful with respect to keep everything invisible to the classroom. We did everything through our shared and participatory governance process, and we did execute on the plan that we brought to the board retreat last past March, and so it's really starting to show fruit.
Other members at this time? Chair recognizes Trustee Zia,
I'll go
followed by
after
Trustee
Doug.
Otto.
I'll go after Doug.
Trustee Otto?
Yeah, I just wanted to understand what the one-time expenditures, the one-time money was.
Yes.
Was that mostly the business review dollars?
Yes, it is what the district is referring to as the BPRs. It's business process review. And the intent is to better utilize systems that the district owns and operates. Many of them are your computer systems, to better refine the processes to support those.
So these were monies that were we had and were budgeted to be spent this year, but we've decided not to spend them this year until we're able to spend them.
The
when we're in better
intent was to spend them over a number of years. And the practice that the district was following was the balance that was available from, it was a one-time source that came in, and it was allocated for this purpose. And so the district would budget for the full amount. Now we are capturing them and reflecting them as a restriction against the reserve, so that they are available for subsequent years, rather than embedding them right up front within the expenditures, knowing it wasn't going to be fully expended. It was overstating expenditures.
And what was that dollar amount that we're saying this year we're not going to spend, that we might have spent?
There was a total of, in the one-time expenditures, the district had budgeted a little bit over $5 million. We are now projecting that will be closer to 1.3 million. And so that will allow for the dollars that aren't going to be spent this year to be carried over and spent for that purpose in subsequent years. And we'll budget a little more closely to what is anticipated rather than the full amount. It overstates your deficit.
Yeah. And I'm not an accountant, so I'm not. So I want to make sure that I understand this. I know that it was originally $5 million, that
Yes.
more or less, that we had budgeted for this business process review, and we spent some of it in previous years, did we not?
That's correct.
But how much did we spend in previous years? Can you tell from what you've got? You may not be able to.
In total, I don't have the current year numbers right with me, but there is still a relatively I don't want to misquote the number. I would have to get that for you.
Okay.
But it is still in a multiple of several million that would be available for this purpose.
And did we sort of budget for this year? Did you say 1.3 million that would have been spent, or is?
Well, originally, the full balance that
is
was
budgeted.
available, it appears, had been budgeted, and so we are now reflecting the numbers that we believe will be expended by the time June 30 is complete.
Okay, and that would be the 1.3 million that
For the,
we will actually expend this year out of the balance that remained from
yes,
whatever it was that we.
that would be the amount for the current year.
Okay.
And so that plus what had been spent in prior years would be, the net of that is what will carry over into next year.
Okay. So I guess what I'm trying to wrap my mind around is the dollars that we saved this year, were those more than the money? We said we're going to spend the balance of that remains from the 5 million, and we've cut that the actual expenditure this year of those monies down to 1.3 million.
For the current year, yes.
And so so for savings, how much do we say we saved this year by not spending more of the business process review money?
As far as comparing income to expense, in total, in your expenditure categories, it is $3,042,000. But that is in total on your expenditures.
I mean, but from business process review money or from total money?
Your business process review, as well as some mandated cost projects, which are included in the one-time as well, was approximately 3.7 million.
Okay. Okay, good, thank you.
Chair recognizes Trustee Zia.
Thank you. This is a fabulous report. I want to commend you and our Superintendent President, Romali, for your leadership. I'm particularly happy about the fact that something that's been a pet peeve of mine, these contract services. Yeah, it just behooves me to see that the community college spends that much money on contract services. I mean, my God. And for you guys to bring this down, that's really ingratiating. I really appreciate that, 6%. I hear that, there's some trustees going around town saying that we got problems, and I'm really happy to hear you say that this deficit is overstated. So I really appreciate that, and especially with these one-time expenditures. My God, I'm still trying to understand the value of the business process assessment and the $5 million. So I'll be looking forward to getting a report on that in the near future. But at the end of the day, even with the overstated deficit, we're at 18% reserve. So I'm happy about that, and I really appreciate the report and the hard work. Thank you.
Other members? Chair recognizes Trustee Malauulu.
I would just also like to commend everyone involved in this budget revise. I guess it's our very own budget revise. Thank you, Superintendent President Reagan Romali. We've had Vice President Betty Miller, and then also Anne Marie Gable, who's no longer with us, for the hard work. My favorite part is the minimal impact to the classroom and the minimal impact in terms of staffing and reduction. I also like, several months ago, we had a discussion regarding collapsing some positions due to retirement or people moving on. And rather than hiring to replace those particular positions, we were able to strategically hire so that maybe we can get 2 or 3 bodies instead of 1. And it became a budget wash. And that was great because we brought more people on board and it wasn't a budget impact. It didn't become a fiscal impact. So I really appreciate that. And as long as the decisions that are made don't impact the students and the student learning and the classroom, then I think, anything in the budget that's definitely in the reserves is always a benefit to our classroom. So thank you for that.
Other members at this time? Well, comments are, and some of us are participating in a webinar today from the state with the CCLC. And that's why when I began, this budget is fluid simply because we don't know what the funding formula is actually going to be. That could have a tremendous impact on this college, positively, negatively, we really don't know. So we're going to find that out in the future as well. And the simple things is though that as a college, we are at, I believe we're now at 91% of our is into people. That is beyond what you normally want to be. A lot of districts are around 80%. Many are in the mid-80s. So that, along with being in stabilization, which I was surprised the number of districts that were involved in some form of stabilization or another. The comment they said today was 50 districts, which I thought was high. But those are the challenges, and the fact we have not yet faced, this board has yet not faced the effects of a recession that has a tremendous impact on any college and their college budget. So when and if that does come, it changes things dramatically. And going through numerous times where we've dealt with these issues, it's not impossible to deal with, but it takes some very hard decisions in the future. And so it's going to be a challenge and those hard choices. But there are some indicators out there that as good as the direction is going, there's still a lot of work to be done to address some problems. So please, colleagues, don't think that everything is just fine, because there's things around the corner that we are not even aware of yet that could have an impact, especially with the funding formula. And they're debating that one right now again. And we'll see what happens in the other circumstances that traditionally have an impact on our budget, as well as those things I just indicated, declining enrollment, which almost every district, the actual growth rate for the state of California is a minimal amount, with rare exception, and that's since the basis of our funding formula. So that and the fact that our cost essentially to operate our college has reached a level that you have to be very, very careful about. So those are indicators. It's not negative, it's reality, and how you deal with them. Everyone loves to say they're fiscal conservative until you have to make those hard choices, and that's bodies. I agree. I hope it doesn't happen. I've watched in the past that, and the challenge about having people's jobs, whatever you want to call about it, somebody has to take on those responsibilities. Those responsibilities of the college are critical. And sometimes when you have people no longer filling those roles, it becomes challenging. And then I've lived through it, which was very upsetting, to where student services are impacted. And by that I mean intramural programs. It's not, we don't need to do that, and that doesn't affect the classroom directly. Well, it does. And so I hope none of you ever have to deal with those. But when you do, it's not the first time, it won't be the last time. But if you don't address them in a very proactive manner, it does start to really just essentially overwhelm you as an institution. So thank you for this update. And this is your last one, too. Who's hanging around? So anyway, but thank you for the report. There's no other questions. Oh, Superintendent, or I'm sorry, Trustee Otto?
Yeah, I want to say just a couple other things about the fact that reducing the deficit is a great accomplishment, and I know everybody on the team has worked really hard to get that done. And yet, and when I say that, what I mean is we don't know about the funding formula, and we don't know what's going to happen. I spent a very, very long day in Sacramento yesterday, more than 15 hours, I think, working on lobbying in the Capitol and talking to people about this, and in a series of meetings with the Department of Finance, with legislative leaders, in not just legislators, but in the field of higher education. And the goal is to come up with a funding formula that aligns our values of access, equity, and student success. As of Friday, when the position papers, if you will, came out about what we hoped that would look like, before the ink was dried, the Department of Finance came out and said, well, we actually think we can do more, that these terms will sound like Farsi to people, but there was a 1-year hold harmless clause, meaning that if districts that were in stabilization would have a year that they wouldn't fall out of stabilization. That was extended to 2 years. By the end of the week, an offer was made to make it 2 years of holding harmless and a year of stability, which is like a third year of hold harmless. In addition to that, they had taken this, how are you going to count your summer school students either last year or this next year, off the table. That's now back on the table. These things haven't been decided yet, but and there were lots of other moves that were made. I've never been in a meeting with the finance department where I felt that we got such straight answers, and yet the clear message that was communicated above anything else was that the governor wants a funding formula that includes some performance-based funding of some kind. And even though the state Senate on Thursday, I believe it might have been Wednesday, voted down that formula, and I believe the Assembly is going to do the exact same thing tomorrow morning. And therefore you think, well, that's game, set, match. My money's still on the governor getting what it is that he wants out of this somehow. And I just, and he's negotiating things. There's also issues about money for financial aid. You know, one of the big problems that we have, and by the way, the first thing that I did when I got back from this last night and then early this morning was to meet with President Romney, and Kathy Scott to talk about this and attend a webinar about what was going on and what possibly could happen. What's happening in financial aid, for example, is that it generally takes 3 to 4 weeks for students to get their checks, and that means that what do students do then? They don't buy their textbooks. They hover around to see whether they're going to have enough money to go to school. They get behind in their classes. That causes them to drop out, things like that. But there's one community college district with the purchase of some software has reduced the 3 to 4 weeks to 3 days, but from the time you enroll and the time you get your check. And so they're thinking about that and whether they could make that a system-wide improvement. In fact, the recommendation that everybody has agreed to is a good idea is $13.5 million as an upfront cost to try and establish such a system in California, with $5 million ongoing to make sure that that system keeps going. We've got a couple of capital projects that we would love to get done. The voters have said, do them, here's the money for them. We've passed this big bond measure. There were lots and lots of projects. We have 2 that have some funding. There are 14 more that are not just ours, but statewide that everybody would love to see funded, and we were told that no, the governor doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want us to all incur more debt, so he's not going to, even though the money is authorized, it's not allocated. In other words, they can't sell the bonds to do that. And yet, at the end of the meeting with the finance department yesterday, it was made clear that it was very possible that all 14 of those projects were on the table to be funded this year. And so what we learned was this is all under negotiation. This is all going to be how this all comes out in the end, and what the big three are going to do, the governor and the head of the Senate and the head of the Assembly. And they're going to get in a room and make some decisions, and they're going to do all of this before June 15th. And to tell you, how this all works, it's what they taught me the first year in law school was follow the money. Now on June 15th, if they don't pass a budget, the senators and the assembly members don't get paid. And so we know they'll have a balanced budget. After years and years and years of not having budgets that were passed, sometimes it would go into October. But now if they're not being paid, it seems to me that we get budgets by June 15th all the time. Follow the money. But what it means is that the next 3 weeks are going to be very full of lots going on, and it will affect how it is that we look. And while we can't control that, we can influence it, and that's what we're trying to do. Everybody is working hard to do that. We sometimes say we're just a COLA away from a deal, and it's way too complicated to do here now. But we're making great efforts. Everybody's got their shoulder to the wheel, and there are lots and lots of issues out there. And I remember coming home on the plane very late last night thinking, who was it? Was it Upton Sinclair that said nobody wants to see the way that laws are made? They're like sausages. Actually, it's pretty interesting to see all the trading that goes on and what people are ultimately very interested in. And we heard comments from state senators late yesterday who said, where have you guys been? The opposition's been here for the last month telling us what they don't want, and you guys are late to the game. And we said, well, and there were reasons why it was being done the way that it was being done, but it's now all going to happen in the next 3 weeks, so stay tuned.
Other comments, questions at this time? None. This is an informational item. We'll move on. 7.3, this is a resolution. This is an action item, direct payment. This is to adopt the resolution to authorize direct payments as submitted. This is with the LA County. We've done it in the past. This is a resolution valid through June 30th, 2023. Comments right there explaining what this is. Could I entertain a motion in a second, please? Motion
So
by
moved.
Trustee Baxter, second by Trustee Otto on item 7.3. Questions, comments on this item at this time? Is it Baxter, Otto? No questions, comments? Madam Secretary, roll please on item 7.3.
Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Jeff Kellogg.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu.
Aye.
Doug Otto.
Aye.
And Sunny Zia.
Aye.
And Student Trustee Chavez.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 7.3 passes. 7.4, this is institutional membership for 2018-19. Just as a note, the board authorizes approval of district institutional membership for 2018-2019. In our actual document, we're going to bring an item back at a next meeting. There's one missing, just in case anyone does look at these documents for the Community College League of California. That was just an oversight. I entertain a motion in a second. Motion by Trustee
So moved.
Otto, second by Trustee Malauulu. On 7.4, administrative services. Questions, comments, members of the board at this time on this item? Hearing none. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Jeff Kellogg.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu.
Aye.
Doug Otto.
Aye.
Sunny Zia.
Aye.
And Student Trustee Chavez.
Aye.
Thank you. Item 7.4 passes. 7.5, this is amendment for resolution regarding supplemental employment retirement plan. This will be an action item. This is the meeting to follow up to clean up some language that we had a previous vote on, and that was to clean the language up to say employees must be eligible to retire from CalPERS or CalSTRS as of June 30th, 2018. This is just a correction in an item, something we previously dealt with in past. Entertain a motion, please. Motion by
So
trustee
moved.
Malauulu, second by trustee Zia. On this item, 7.5, question, comments on this item at this time? Hearing none. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Jeff Kellogg.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu.
Aye.
Doug Otto.
Aye.
And Sunny Zia.
Aye.
Thank you. Item 7.6, this is new board policy, administrative regulations, accessibility of information and communication technology. This is only a first reading. This is mandated by state, federal law. California Community College Chancellor's Office required districts comply with the section standards to ensure accessibility to information and communication technologies for individuals with disabilities. Questions, comments on this at this time? If none, this is only a first reading. Members? None? First reading? Moving on. We now have student support services. This is an annual approval of student trustee to receive compensation for board meetings. And you get to vote on this too, by the way, student trustee. So I'll entertain, this is that the Board of Trustees approved compensation for the student trustee, 25% of the monthly payment paid for public elected trustees, or a whopping $100 per month as submitted. Entertain a motion and a second. Motion
So
by
moved.
trustee Zia, second by trustee Baxter, to the annual approval of student trustee. Any questions or comments
I have
on
a
this?
question.
Yes, Chair recognizes trustee
Now,
Otto.
can our student trustee vote on this because he no longer would have a conflict of interest because he can't receive any of this because he's no longer the student trustee going forward?
I don't know.
Well, technically, my term ends on June 1st.
No, we are fine with having the student trustee vote on this item. So, and this is what we do for every student trustee. And again, it's per with district board policy. If there's no other questions, comments on item 8.1, this is for the approval of student trustee to receive compensation for board meetings. No other questions, comments, members of the board at this time. Madam Secretary?
Virginia Baxter.
Aye.
Jeff Kellogg.
Aye.
Vivian Malauulu.
Aye.
Doug Otto.
Aye.
Sunny Zia.
Aye.
And student trustee Chavez.
Aye.
Good job. We're now to, this is 8.2, new board policy administrative regulations and deletion on board policy administrative regulations. Again, this is another first reading only, no vote is required. This administrative regulation has been distributed to review to the President's Leadership Council and are being presented for first reading. The changes are being recommended as a result of an ongoing review in accordance with accreditation standards. Is there any questions or comments on this item? If there are none, again, this is first reading only for student support services. We will move on then. We're now to reports. 9.1, Academic Senate President.
Thank you, President Kellogg. So I have a few items to report from the Academic Senate. The first is that the Academic Senate has approved for the college to carry on what is known as the SENSE survey. It's a spatial survey that is going to be administered on the 4th and the 5th week of fall semester that is given to the students in the classroom, and the survey is so that we can, it's a sense which means the survey for entering student engagement. So it allows us to know why students persist and complete and why some of them fail, which is going to be important as we move on with improving our completion rates. So the Senate has has supported that this survey be carried out. Also, the Senate has supported that Canvas will be now the only learning management system. Over the summer, Moodle will be phased out. So we're encouraging faculty to use Canvas because it's going to allow us to also get more information and data that we can use for success rates. I want to also let you know that the fashion show is scheduled for May 26th. So beautiful catalog that was taken at the Horticulture Garden. So if you have time, do support the fashion program. Also, looking forward to attending the nursing and the medical assisting pinning ceremony that is scheduled for June the 5th. A great event, like a graduation for the nursing program. And lastly, invite everybody to join us for the commencement and graduation set to take place in June. So looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Classified Senate President.
We don't have any report this evening, but thanks.
Thank you. Superintendent President.
Thank you. My report was on the funding formula, and Trustee Otto did a fantastic job, so I too will pass. Thank you.
Thank you. Student Trustee.
Good evening, everyone. So it's been a wild ride. This is my final report sitting on this board. And I won't say that I made it yet because I have not walked down in graduation. I haven't spoken at graduation yet. And also because my grades haven't been posted. So I'll save the I made it chance until after. As for my report, I want to go ahead and report that since last month.
I've talked to two of your professors, though, so
it's great.
let's
Thank you.
talk afterwards.
Oh, sounds great. Hopefully it's good news. As for my report, I went ahead and I mentioned last meeting that I had my first ever podcast with Antonio Ruiz, who's the publisher for Palacio Magazine. Well, that podcast went live. It's a 29-minute long podcast where I got to say about my background and how I got to this point as in the position of student trustee. In addition, from that experience, I went ahead and finally had addressed the concern that I've been working through my whole term, which was addressing food concerns here on campus. I was able to kind of get a Starbucks on campus. For those who don't know, what I mean is that our ASB Viking Food Court now has Starbucks drinks. They will make us a Starbucks drink. And however, for example, the refreshers are unavailable, and also you can't use the Star Rewards. But other than that, I mean, if I want an iced white chocolate mocha, I can go get it there. I don't have to drive to the other side where the Habit is at. So that's a perk. So I'm really happy about that. They also sell our regular, just like the gums and the mints that Starbucks does carry. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of that achievement. As mentioned, Donnell Jones did win the student trustee position for the next academic year. I'll be meeting with him this Thursday before my ASB meeting, and I look forward to discussing his approach to the position and how to handle meetings and how to approach certain individuals and where to start in his platform and how to move forward. In addition, even though the semester is not over yet, a lot of the end of the year banquets have began. And so I'll be starting with the honors program banquet, which will be this Thursday. I'll be graduating from that honors program. I did make 5 classes in honors, so therefore I will be graduating in I believe it's gold for graduation, so I look forward to that. So we have our banquet this Thursday. And then we have our student life reception, which is happening on May 29th, which would be this Tuesday at the Fishbowl. On the May 31st, we have our Viking volunteer reception, which I'm looking forward to that as well. So if you do a certain amount of hours, you'll get transcript notation through the Viking volunteers. After that, we have our university reception. So for all those students that are transferring, the Career and Transfer Center is having the university reception. So I'm looking forward to that. And May 30th, I have the Alpha Gamma Sigma Kappa chapter, the Honor Society's banquet. And I'm also graduating from their program as well. June 1st, I have the Associated Student Body banquet. It's like banquet back to back to back to back, which is fun because it's a lot of free food. So yeah, it's like, decent high quality food. So our ASB banquet's gonna be at the Grand. So I'm looking forward to that. And
Is it gonna be a breakfast again? Or
it's gonna be a dinner.
Oh, who?
A dinner?
Oh, dinner.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that.
So is this the way you're addressing the food problem on campus?
No. I try to get us a Starbucks. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Starbucks is good. Moving on, June 7th, it's graduation. I'm looking forward to that. So for those who don't know, I will be speaking at the commencement. and I will also. June 7th is also my birthday, so I turn 21 that day. So drinks on me. Nah, I ain't drinking. I'm still not gonna drink. Other than that, that pretty much concludes my report as far as events that are coming up. As I mentioned, this has been a tough ride being the student trustee, and I remember when it was June 27th, 2017, when it was my first time being up here, and I was really nervous because I had an audience and I wasn't expecting. I didn't know what to expect. I'd like to once again give a shout out to my predecessor, Alejandro Lomelí, who really prepared me for this position, and I hope that I do a good job preparing my successor, Donnell Jones. And I'm looking forward to what Long Beach City College has to offer in the future. I'll be moving on to USC and joining the Trojan family, and you can expect me to get involved with their USG or their undergraduate student government as well. Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations. And an early happy birthday.
Thank you.
Just don't show up in a shopping cart being pushed by your friends. And
No.
21st birthday?
21st at graduation.
Oh my God. Okay.
Hopefully the audience sings me happy birthday at graduation, just saying.
Congratulations. All right, we're on to the Board of Trustees. As what I always do, I rotate it around, so if I may start, I'm going to start with Trustee Baxter, followed by Otto, Malulu, and Zia.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I want to say congratulations to all the graduates. I look forward to June 6th, June 7th? June 7th. I want to tell a story about a student who's graduating. He came here from Ecuador, and he has special needs, and he will be graduating in 2 years, has a wonderful job, and is transferring to Cal State Long Beach. And so I'm looking forward to him walking across the stage, and hopefully will be a symbol to the rest of our students to get out there and get your classes and complete them in a timely manner so that you too can go on. So that's great about commencement. The scholarship reception is the day before, and I always look forward to that and meeting the student recipients. And I want to salute the scholarship committee, who spends a great deal of time reading all the applications and trying to figure out which scholarships would be best for which students. They get upset with me because when I read the applications for my scholarships, I say, why isn't this student getting this scholarship? Why isn't this student? And luckily, they have to respond back to me. And then on all the banquets, congratulations to all the students in Student Life who have participated and made their college career a better opportunity, and have learned leadership and service skills, and that's great. Last month, President Kellogg, I asked to end the meeting in memory of a certain person, and this month I'm going to ask you to end it in memory of Trustin Laughlin. Trustin Laughlin is the husband of Patricia Laughlin, who was the first African-American Board of Trustee member, and he had a long-serving career as a police officer, and Pat, his wife, devoted many, many years to his care, and I would like to end in memory of Trustin Laughlin. And that's my report.
Thank you. Trustee Otto.
So I'm going to limit what I have to say tonight in my report to what went on at the Community College League of California meeting in Valencia 2 weeks ago. It was a 4-day conference. Valencia is up by Magic Mountain. It was hosted by the College of the Canyons, and they did a terrific job of hosting the event and really extending a good time to all of us. President Romali and I went to, the day before the conference, to a dinner, first a dinner the night before that, and then an all-day conference that had to do with economic development in community colleges in general. And it was a highlight of that, in my mind's eye, was that Bill Allen, who is the president and CEO of the Los Angeles Economic Development Commission, spoke or gave one of the addresses, and I think did a great job. In fact, everybody did a good job in terms of things that we could learn about, things we can do at Long Beach City College to do more. There was a 4-hour session on guided pathways that was pretty much led by our chancellor and former president, Eloy Oakley, where a lot of people talked about where we are in guided pathways. As you know, our strategic plan is modeled, or at least mostly encompasses, guided pathways. And so I think a lot of people saw what the state of guided pathways was in the state of California. There are those that believe that, you know, this is just the idea du jour, but most, if not all, of the community college districts in California have gotten behind this idea and are really working hard because they see how important it is to our students to get students not only into school, but through school and to be successful, because that's what's best for them and what's best for our communities and for, indeed, the state of California. There was also a 3.5-hour session for board and CEO executive assistants that our own Jackie Hahn attended, and we haven't had a chance to debrief about how that was, but I know in past years there's a lot to be learned about not only changes, but what our assistants do to make sure we're doing things. And I'll give you just one example. When I noticed today that one of the organizations to which we belong was left off the list of organizations that we were going to approve, I called Jackie and said, you know, hey, can we just pull it off the consent calendar and amend it so that we can add this to it? And she said, oh, no, you can't do that. And I said, what do you mean we can't do that? She said, no, you can't do that. And when Jackie says that to me, I get real quiet and says, well, why? And she says, well, it's the Brown Act. You know, you can't add something to an agenda. What we'll have to do is to pass the item and then next meeting put this as another agenda item to do this. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry. You're absolutely right. And that's what we did. And so they learned those kinds of things, and we're very proud of the work that she does. There was also a session on what trustees should ask during labor negotiations. It's an area where there's very little guidance in terms of guidelines or best practices, and there was a lot to be learned in that session. Asked for the materials so that we can do that. There's also, as many of you know, a big controversy about online education, and it's manifested mostly by the new 115th Community College, which is an online college that Governor Brown is absolutely going to get through, and everybody that I saw in Sacramento yesterday said, yeah, that's pretty much going to happen. And there are a lot of groups, faculty in particular, that are worried that what that will do is undercut the efforts by the many community colleges we have in California that do their own online work. Accommodations are trying to be worked out, but there was a lot at the Valencia conference about that too. And indeed, we talked about all of the things that are going on in community colleges. I think 31 of the 72 community college districts have declining enrollments. And what that means is that for the students that are out there, in a funding formula that's pretty much based on how many students you have. Right now it's 100%, but the proposal is to make it 60% of the monies that you receive would be on that basis. We have to be, it's very competitive between or among community colleges within an area where people might go. When I came on this board 14 years ago, there were 96,000 Long Beach Unified School District students. This year, there are 76,000 Long Beach Unified School District students. And what that means is that if they're not getting out to come here, and there are fewer and fewer of them, we're going to have fewer people to get money from the state. So that has a lot to do with the Long Beach, not only the Long Beach, but the State College Promise, and that's what the session at Valencia was on, was what do we do with declining enrollments and how does it affect the College Promise? And so overall, I think it was a very successful meeting. I think people walked away with a lot of knowledge, and my hat's off to Diane Van Hook, who has become a very good friend of Long Beach City College and has helped us work through a number of issues here. Diane started out at Long Beach City College. She married a Long Beach City College professor. They live, when they are not up in Valencia, in Seal Beach, and Dr. O'Malley and I are going to have dinner with them in a couple of weeks, not just to thank her for all the help that she gives us with the knowledge that she has of the system, but because she's a real good friend and knowledgeable about what goes on in community colleges. And so we're looking forward to that. So that's my report.
Thank you. Trustee Malulu.
Thank you very much. I would like to congratulate all of the new ASB officers. I know that many of them were here, and I hope they've gone on to class. Congratulations to those students. Also, I'd like to congratulate the 42 new tenured faculty members who we celebrated last week at La Traviata for the tenured faculty reception. I think it's great that we have so many new faculty members and that they achieved their tenure. I think that's fantastic. On May 9th, I participated in a press conference in support of Long Beach Moving Forward, which is a coalition of a number of organizations. There's several different groups that come together for this entity. And LBCC once again housed an immigration resource fair. I think it's the third time that we've been able to support that. And we had a press conference for it, and it was on that following Saturday, which was, I believe, May 12th, was the resource fair. And I'm very happy to have been a part of that, and very happy to welcome all the different organizations. And Long Beach Moving Forward is definitely growing. Also, I would just like to wish everybody good luck in the next couple of weeks. Finals are coming up, lots of year-end projects. It's my favorite time of the year, the end of any semester, but spring semester is always very special because of all of the awards ceremonies and commencement. My schedule is full, my heart is happy. Congratulations to everybody. I am planning on making as many of these events as allowed with the schedule. And just, I've said this before, finish strong. Finish strong, take a couple of weeks off, recoup, and then let's come back and do it again next school year. And, we're excited about the things on the horizon. So thank you, everybody.
Trustee Zia.
Thank you. I'm going to try to be as brief as possible. So just a couple of noteworthy items. Trustee Baxter and I have the great pleasure and privilege of having a joint scholarship with Trustee Baxter for ESL students and also our homeless students. So we had the interviews on Friday, and gosh, I got to tell you, it just puts us so in touch with the trials and tribulations of our students. And I'm happy to report we did select 2 students, and I'm sure they're going to be hearing about it, and it's going to be celebrated in the scholarship reception. I also wanted to echo all the events that have already been mentioned. I've participated in the faculty tenure reception, one of my favorite events, the most we've had, 42 faculty members. It was so exciting to see that. What a great group. I also had the great pleasure of having a presentation on Long Beach City College and the great work we do here. The Downtown Residents Council, and for those of you who are not familiar with the DRC, it's the heads of different homeowners associations and groups in downtown that meet. It's about roughly 15 to 20 people and they get together and talk about the community, things that matter to the community, and they invited me to speak and talk about Long Beach City College, which was very flattering. And I had the great pleasure of having a great team member and partner in crime, in good, I should say, Joshua Castellano. Thank you so much for your work and support. He's fabulous, was available last minute, and I like to echo his motto that he is at the service of the college 24/7. So we're really lucky to have you. And they really appreciated it. It was fantastic. There was a lot of interest in getting involved and perhaps looking at how we can take the college, kind of like the externships, and taking it to the community, and perhaps going to them, and perhaps it could be something that we can look at as far as increasing enrollment. I don't know how that might be done, but we have a very creative and imaginative superintendent president who is always looking for ways of increasing enrollment. So I'm looking forward to that. There was also another idea that was brought up about getting to the population of homeschool students. And then also how to get to high school students before they drop out. So it was a fabulous feedback that we got, and I was very appreciative. They just didn't know. A lot of folks don't know about the great work we do, like workforce development, the vocational programs and how we've revamped those, the apprenticeship program, the pre-apprenticeship program that we have, besides the traditional scholastic excellence that we provide for matriculation. So that was fantastic, and it's really rewarding. I invite my colleagues to try on doing some of these Discover LBCC events in your districts. I know a lot of you have done it, but it really it gets the message out to our communities and districts. And that's pretty much all I have, President Kellogg. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Otto went through the CCLC. I was also in attendance at that conference. Actually, in my role with the statewide organization, I was involved in 3 sessions as far as a panelist. One was labor negotiations, as Trustee Otto mentioned. Another one was on the role and responsibilities of CEOs and boards, but the interesting one for me personally was the one that we put together, we meaning the league, and my role with one of the 2 subcommittees. And actually the group was, the title of the session was to draw people, because simply the title was called Me Too in Community Colleges. The reason for that, it was, and the Me Too movement is much broader than what we really focused on, but we were really talking about how, and I did mention this in January during the State of the College address, about you are seeing in the news many things from in the private sector, then it's coming now into the Cal State and the UC system as far as with hostile work environments, inappropriate activity. So it is going to be really critical for a community college to get ahead of it as far as regulatory, putting together clear policies beyond accreditation standards, which are minimal. It was a very interesting session, and I even said what was my role going to be there. Hopefully it wasn't going to be being an obnoxious male talking about inappropriate things, but it was very well attended and very critical for what's the future. The reason why I'm just saying that one is during the crime report on campus, boards have to be always looking in the future. We react to things as they come forward because you have to, but you also have a responsibility to try to predict and anticipate what your future is going to be, and that's the intent of that session, is that colleges do have to address it in a very proactive way, because you don't want to be sitting here and having an incident take place inappropriately and really have nothing in place to defend yourself except, well, we have these minimal standards. That's not acceptable in today's world. So the session went very well. The entire conference was very well received, and so I thank Trustee Otto for making those comments on that one. That is all I have on mine, so we're now moving forward to the reports from bargaining associations. Do we have anyone for the bargaining association? A total of 5 minutes will be allocated for each bargaining unit.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, President Kellogg and Dr. Romali, Vice Presidents, staff, faculty, students, and community members. Janae Hun from the Faculty Association. And just a few comments. So first, I just want to speak about safety issues on campus. And you know, this is an ongoing issue for us. I know the district is working on it, but we just want to remind everyone that we still have a bit to go. And I was pleased to see the recent communications message requesting people who are interested to be certified emergency response individuals, and also I believe there was a little more call out for the building emergency coordinators. So I think there was only one faculty on the list of those two things, and I think we need more faculty representation there. So I hope people respond to that request. And then just echoing from the presentation earlier tonight, I know on our behavioral assessment team, there are no faculty on that team, and I think that is another oversight. We have 3 faculty on the mental health SLOT team, and I think any one of those 3 would be really good additions to the behavioral assessment team. Another topic, again, I also attended the reception for the 46 newly tenured faculty. Yes, it was 46. And that's always a great event. So neat to see all those people coming on board as fully tenured faculty. And then on the other end, the SERP, we thank the district again for the SERP offer. I'm confident we're going to get at least 10 faculty on board for that, and we should know more very soon on that one. So a topic, I just want to mention this. I heard in Trustee Zia's report, and I know this topic is really important to both Trustee Zia and Baxter, and that is our homeless student population. Just today received a message from one of my students who's been absent a lot over the last month, and I knew she was having issues, but didn't want to really tell me what it was, and so now she did tell me that she's struggling with her homelessness, and it's just very difficult for her to deal with that, let alone being a student. So I am hopeful that if I see her tomorrow, that I'm going to have a resource to give to her, because that is a really frustrating position for me to hear that there's a real immediate issue and not knowing what I can do for her. So I have reached out to Student Life, so I am hopeful that I'm going to see that student tomorrow and give her a lifeline to hang in there for this semester. And, you know, this kind of links back to what Dr. Amali's mantra has often been. We faculty doing everything we can to help our students get across the finish line. And I have been reaching out to this student, and I am, again, really hopeful that I'm going to see that person tomorrow in class. And then lastly, graduation is coming on June 7th. We're all quite excited about that coming on very soon, and hopefully all of our students are going to finish very strong. And yeah, that's it. Have a great night.
Thank you. And my apologies, I was looking at my notes. I only wanted to, at the CCLC conference, I did want to admit the fact that there was a reference to Chancellor who talked about the online community colleges. I was adamant that would never happen, showing once again that I'm knowledgeable about everything. The fact it is going to happen. But it's also, I think after that presentation, it was more acceptable on what the parameters were, the total number of FTEs, et cetera. I still think it has challenges, but the fact is that I think a lot of the questions were answered, and even during the webinar today that's been referenced earlier, they talked about the online community college statewide. So it's coming, and hopefully it won't have a negative impact on all the other community colleges offering online as well. But it is indeed going to take place. As well as the budget funding formula. That will change, and if you listen to the logic behind it and the comments you've heard, we're all having a declining enrollment, yet our basis of our funding formula is based on growth. If it's not happening, why do we keep doing it this way? And so that is really the intent of the governor, the chancellor, to change what has been in place since the 1960 master plan, a funding formula that is now obsolete. And so that for sure is coming, but we just don't quite know what that means. But I wanted to especially say about the online, because I was adamant that would never move forward, but here it is. And If you have questions about it, feel free to contact the Chancellor's office. They can answer your questions probably better than I can.
President
Public
Kellogg.
comment on non-agenda items. Madam Secretary, do we have any speakers for the non-agenda items? There are none. Thank you very much. There is no need for a second closed session.
President
So-
Kellogg, can I just
Yes.
interject? I
Trustee Zia.
failed to mention my gratitude to Betty Miller. Thank you so much for stepping in and really doing a fine job. It was a true pleasure to have you again, and I want to wish you luck for your future endeavors, and thank you so much for taking care of us while you were here.
Thank you. We said this one time before, and you showed back up, so so we're not quite sure. But if there's no other items and there's no need for a second session, we're going to adjourn the meeting. And Pat Laughlin's husband, he's really Trustin is he just was a very just a very gentle soul, and Pat really for the last couple of years of his life really put a lot of time in taking care of him, and that's a sad passing in our community. So we are going to adjourn the meeting in his memory, and also in the best wishes to Pat and all the years that she has served this community. So if there's no objection, then we are going to adjourn the meeting to June 26th, 2018, at 4 p.m. Thank you all very much. Without objection, the meeting of the Board of Trustees is adjourned. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.